What's going on, y'all? This is Randall Branch. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I want to talk about the dark side of getting lean. There's a lot of dark sides. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a lot of things I want to talk about. A lot of men and a lot of women are striving to get lean, especially men. A lot of men hit me up in my DMs and comment on the videos. They talk about getting lean or they talk about wanting to get lean. And I can get on here and I talk about all the positives, but I want to talk about some of the dark sides too. So I'm not gonna talk about all the dark sides. I might make this a series, but this is one dark side I want to talk about. And I've literally never heard anybody talk about this who's not in the bodybuilding space. I've heard some bodybuilders talk about this that might have competed for shows, but I've never heard any like body game creators or any like looks maxing creators or anybody who's not in like the competing space, who's just in like the fitness. Now, I've never heard anybody even in the fitness space talk about this. Anybody who's just in the fitness space. There's only bodybuilders that talk about this. And this is that, before I even get into that, this is that a lot of people, first of all, say that a lot of people feel like they are leaner than they really are, meaning a man might think he's 15% when he's really 20%. Right? Very common. A woman might think she's 20%, but she's really 25% because we tend to underestimate. I want to make sure I say this right. We tend to underestimate the amount of body fat percentage that we have. Right? We tend to think that we are leaner than we are, which is true, right? But once you get exceptionally lean, like this is true for like 90% of people, but there's a 10% of people who do get lean and then they start to overestimate the body fat percentage that they have, right? And this is going to be common with the people who get exceptionally lean. I'm not talking about dudes who are still above 15% or women who are still above 25%. I'm talking about men who are in like the 8 to 12, 8 to 13% range and women who are in the 18 to 22, 23% range. A lot of us, we get into that range and we're so adamant with our calories and our macros and our sleep and our training and our water. And we see ourselves every day. We might take pictures of our physique every day. We might be in the mirror a good amount, right? We might post fitness content, whatever it may be. So we see ourselves all the time that we become numb to like how we really look and what our true body fat percentage is, right? And how lean we really are. And the problem with that is that a lot of people will get pretty lean. Like I said, they'll get into that 8 to 12, 13% for men, 18 to 22, 23% for women. And they won't understand how lean they really are until after the fact. So I'll give you a perfect example. A man will cut down to 9% body fat and he'll be seeing himself every day, right? In the mirror every day, taking pictures once a week, whatever it may be. So he's become almost numb to his 9% body fat, right? Then he might eat a little bit more calories or whatever it may be. And a few weeks down the line, he's up to 12, 13% body fat. Then he looks back at pictures and realizes, oh shit, I was pretty lean. And now that I'm not that lean, I could actually see it. But in the moment, I didn't realize how lean I was, right? And again, this is not going to be true for 80 to 90% of people, right? Because 80 to 90% of people, they're going to underestimate the amount of body fat that they have. But for the few percentage of people who truly get exceptionally lean, this is a very common thing. It's a very common thing. You get exceptionally lean, you see yourself every day, you become numb to how lean you are, and it's not until you gain a little bit of body fat, you don't go crazy. Right? Because I say once you get lean, you want to stay lean when you see the way that it benefits your life, right? I don't know how you're not getting fat again. You just gain 2-3% body fat. You go from 9 to 12%. You go from 10 to 13%. You go from 10 to 14%, right? If you're a woman, you can add 10% to all this, right? You go from 18 to 22%. You go from 19 to 23%. You just gain like 2 to 4% body fat, right? Over maybe like a month or two, you're just eating more calories. You're still fit, but you're not as lean as you were. And then you look back at old pictures of how lean you were and you realize how lean you were. You're like, damn, I was pretty lean. Damn, I had abs, I had veins in my abs, and my face was way leaner. I'm looking at pictures of my face, it was way leaner. But in the moment, I didn't realize how lean I was because I was just focusing on pushing to get leaner, pushing to get leaner. And the reason why I'm saying this to you guys is because I don't want you guys to cope and say that you're leaner than you are, right? I don't want you guys to underestimate your body fat, but I also want you guys to be objective with yourself, right? Look at pictures of yourself, realize how lean you actually are. And I think social media kind of plays into this too, because if you're 10% body fat, 11% body fat as a man, but every fitness content creator that you consume is 8 to 9% body fat. Now you feel like you're damn near 15% body fat because you're constantly comparing yourself to people and you don't realize how lean you really are. And then let's say you actually do get to 15% body fat because you're eating more calories. You look back and you're like, damn, I was really lean. Like I don't have that anymore. But in the moment, I didn't realize that. So I want you guys to be objective. And this is why it does help to have a coach, right? Somebody who is not you, who can kind of look at things from a perspective that you can't see. So if you guys are interested in coaching, check the first link in the description. Okay, and that's for my 6-month coaching program. I also do personalized plans and strategy calls. So check the link in the description if you guys are interested in that. But truthfully speaking, even if it's not a coach, it is cool to have somebody else who could objectively look at you. And I'm not, and that's why you have to be careful with this because it can't be somebody who's 40% body fat. Of course, you're going to be lean to them. I'm talking about somebody who you trust their opinion, somebody who's in the type of shape that you admire to be in, somebody who's on their shit. And they can look at you and be like, nah, you're lean. You're pretty lean. And this is also important because I don't believe in DEXA scans, in-body scans, and all the goofy the calibers. All that shit is not accurate, bro. It's not accurate. And I could make a video about that because a lot of you guys will DM me and you guys will be like, yeah, or you guys will comment, you guys will be like, yeah, bro, I got a DEXA and I was 12.7% body fat, bro. And my goal is to get to 11.235. Like that, like, that shit is no, we're not doing that, bro. You guys don't understand. Like literally, I could go get a DEXA right now, and it could say I'm 12% body fat, and then I could drop my carbs and drop my water for 3 days, and then go get a DEXA at another place. So not only have I manipulated my glycogen stores and my hydration, but I'm also going to a different facility whose calibrations might be different, and the percentages might change 3 to 4% within 3 days. No, and no, I didn't gain or lose 3 to 4% body fat in 3 days. I just manipulated my water, right, my hydration and my carbs, and I went to a different facility. So that's how off, and that's DEXA. Don't get me started on InBodies, right? I can go get an InBody right now. It's gonna tell me I'm like 7% body fat. InBodies are not accurate too, and that's like the main one that people flex online. But that's a whole nother conversation, right? This is specifically about people who overestimate their body fat percentage after getting lean, right? And you could say it's a little bit of body dysmorphia. I want to talk about that because I do believe I have a very different perspective on body dysmorphia. So that'll be a future video I'll make, right? But it's like at the end of the day, when you overestimate your body fat percentage, it doesn't allow for you to fully appreciate the work that you've put in, and it doesn't allow for you to be objective. We want to be objective with our physiques, and it's truly hard to be objective with our physiques, especially when we're always striving for more, especially when we're lean, especially when we're on social media looking at other people's physiques, and we're seeing our physiques every day, so we become numb to it. So this is one of the dark sides, excuse me, of getting lean that I want you guys to be prepared for. A lot of you guys want to get exceptionally lean, right? What I'm talking about really only occurs when you get sub 12%, 12% or below for men, 22% or below for women, right? If you're 15% body fat, you're good, bro. But like once you get exceptionally lean, understand that you might get to a point where you overestimate your body fat percentage just because you're striving to get leaner and you're numb to your physique and you're consuming fitness content. So just be aware of this. Take pictures of your physique, be objective, realize your objective body fat percentage. Some guys like to DM me and ask me my estimate on their body fat percentage. I'm cool with that, only if you're not on no gay shit, bro. If you're on some gay shit, then don't send me that, bro. But if you want me to look at your physique and assess it, I'm cool with that. You guys check me out at Randall Branch on Instagram. Okay, so if you guys want to join my coaching, check the description. Personalized plans, ebooks, and programs, all that will be in the description. Follow me on Instagram at Randall Branch. This is the dark side of getting lean. I'm gonna make some more videos about this because I want you guys to be aware of the dark sides of getting lean. I'll talk about some positives of getting lean too. Okay, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later today for another video. Peace.